Ever feel like your brain is stuck in its ways?
Hmm.
Well, get ready for some good news.
Okay.
We're diving deep into this idea of neuroplasticity.
Oh, cool.
We'll discover that our brains are way more adaptable than we thought.
It's true.
I mean, for years, people thought our brains were fixed after childhood.
Right, but now we know our brains can rewire and reshape themselves.
And to help us understand all this, we're going to be looking at the work of Dr. Daniel J. Siegel,
Ah, yes.
especially his book, Mindsight.
His work is amazing. He helps us understand how to use neuroplasticity.
So what is neuroplasticity exactly?
Well, think of your brain like a city with roads.
Okay.
Billions of roads. Those are neural pathways.
Uh-huh.
Neuroplasticity is like the city rebuilding those roads.
Oh, interesting.
It can reroute traffic, demolish old roads, based on the city's needs.
So it's not just about learning new things, it's about actually changing our brain structure.
That's exactly it.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
There's a lot of evidence for it, too.
Like what?
Well, think about a concert pianist.
Okay.
Their hands move so effortlessly across the keys.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that their brains actually develop larger areas for
Really?
fine motor control.
Wow. So the more they practice, the more their brains change.
Exactly.
It's like their brain is adapting to their craft.
Right.
I also read about a study of London taxi drivers.
Oh, yeah.
They have to memorize that crazy, complicated city map.
It's unbelievable.
And their hippocampy, the brain area responsible for spatial navigation, got bigger.
That's right.
Bigger than people who aren't taxi drivers.
The demands of their job literally reshape their brain.
The neuroplasticity isn't just physical. It affects our emotions and thoughts and behavior, too.
It affects everything. It's with us all the time. Every experience, every thought shapes our brains.
So we're constantly shaping our brains.
For better or worse, yeah.
Which brings us to Mindsight, right?
Yeah.
This idea from Dr. Siegel.
It's the ability to understand our own minds and the minds of others.
Interesting.
It's about integration.
What does that mean?
Linking different parts of the brain.
So instead of different parts of our brain working on their own, they work together
Exactly.
using Mindsight.
That's right.
And why is that important?
Well, that integration is really important for things like emotional regulation
Uh-huh.
and empathy, decision-making, well-being in general.
So our brains are like an orchestra.
Yes, a well-rehearsed orchestra.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Each section of the orchestra represents different areas of the brain.
I see.
And when they play together in harmony, it creates beautiful music.
Hmm,
So when our brains are integrated, all the different parts work together smoothly.
that makes sense.
Then we experience well-being and clarity.
But you said Mindsight is a skill.
Yes, it is.
Can we train our brains to be more integrated?
We can,
Wow.
like a conductor fine-tuning an orchestra.
That's a great way to put it.
It takes practice, but we can definitely develop Mindsight.
Is that where that brain in the palm of your hand thing comes in?
That's right.
That visualization technique?
Dr. Siegel uses that to help people understand this concept.
I read about that.
You use your hand as a model of the brain.
Yeah.
Your wrist is the brainstem, basic survival functions.
Okay.
The thumb tucked into your palm is the limbic area, that's emotions.
Uh-huh.
And your fingers covering your thumb, that's the cortex, higher level thinking.
It's so simple, but it really helps you visualize it.
Right.
So we can promote integration in our brains just by visualizing.
You got it. It's a good starting point.
This is fascinating stuff, but I'm also curious about early experiences, especially in childhood.
That plays a huge role.
How much do those early experiences actually affect our brains?
Well, our early experiences, especially during childhood, have a huge impact, even at a genetic level.
Seriously?
Yeah. There's this field of study called epigenetics. It's basically how our experiences shape how our genes are expressed.
Okay. I'm not sure I follow.
Think of our genes like a blueprint for our brains.
All right.
Epigenetics is like the construction crew that reads the blueprint.
Oh, okay.
It decides which parts get built and which parts get ignored.
Based on our experiences.
Yeah.
So even though we inherit our genes, our experiences determine how they work.
Exactly.
So nature and nurture both play a role.
That's right. They're both important.
And what kind of research is there to support this?
There are some remarkable studies. For example, some studies have shown that children raised in institutions
Okay.
with limited emotional care, they often have smaller hippocampi. That's the brain area for memory and learning,
Wow.
compared to kids raised in loving homes.
So the lack of love actually changes the physical structure of their brains.
Yeah.
It really shows how important it is to provide a nurturing environment for kids.
It's crucial.
What else have they found?
Another interesting finding is about the impact of stress.
Stress. Early stress. It can affect the development of the glucocorticoid receptor.
Glucocorticoid receptor? I've never heard of that.
It's basically the brain's stress switch.
Oh, okay.
It helps regulate stress hormones.
Like cortisol.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
If a child experiences a lot of stress early on, they may not develop enough of these receptors. And that can lead to problems with regulating stress throughout life.
So early childhood experiences can really have a long-lasting impact.
They can.
It's amazing how much our brains are shaped by those early years.
It really highlights the power of those early experiences.
This is giving me a lot to think about. It's pretty sobering.
It is, but also gives us a lot of hope.
Hope? How so?
Because neuroplasticity is a lifelong thing.
Oh, right.
Our brains can change throughout our lives.
So even if someone didn't have ideal early experiences, there's still hope.
Exactly.
They can still change their brains later in life.
Right. We can learn new skills, form new habits, and essentially rewire our brains. That's where integration and Mindsight come in.
Exactly. Those are powerful tools for creating positive change.
Okay, I'm ready to learn more about that.
We'll dive deeper into that next time. We'll explore how to use these principles
Sounds good.
to cultivate better relationships,
Yeah.
regulate our emotions more effectively,
Yeah.
and live with greater well-being.
I'm looking forward to it. So we've learned that our brains can adapt and rewire themselves.
That's right.
And we've touched on Mindsight, this ability to understand our own minds and others.
It's a powerful concept.
But now I'm curious about relationships.
Oh, yeah.
How does all this connect to our relationships?
Our relationships are a key part of this whole thing, especially those early attachments we form.
You mean in childhood?
Yeah, in childhood, they really shape our brains.
That makes sense.
They influence how we interact with the world.
So you're talking about attachment theory.
Exactly.
I've heard of it, but can you remind me how it works?
Sure. Attachment theory basically says that those early bonds we form
With our parents or caregivers?
Yeah, with our primary caregivers, they create a blueprint for our future relationships.
Oh, interesting.
It shapes how we expect relationships to be, our fears, how we connect with others.
So these early attachments affect how we see intimacy and trust and all that?
Yes, they lay the foundation for all of that.
Wow.
And research has shown that there are different attachment styles.
Really?
Yeah, they come from those early experiences, different ways of relating to others.
So what are the different styles?
Well, there's secure attachment. That's like the ideal scenario.
How does that look like?
Imagine a child who feels totally safe and secure with their caregiver.
Okay.
They know their caregiver will be there for them, comfort them,
So they feel loved and protected.
Exactly. And that security allows them to explore the world confidently.
Because they know they have a safe haven to return to.
That's it.
Makes sense.
And as adults, they're comfortable with intimacy and being close to others.
They trust people.
Yes. They trust that their needs will be met, that they can love and be loved.
That sounds lovely.
It is, but not everyone has that experience.
Right. What about those who didn't have that secure attachment early on?
That's when we see these other attachment styles.
Oh, okay.
One is avoidant attachment.
What's that?
People with this style often learn to suppress their need for closeness.
Why would they do that?
Because those needs weren't met consistently when they were kids.
Oh, I see.
So they might seem very independent and self-sufficient.
But they're not really.
Deep down, they might struggle with vulnerability.
So they keep people at arm's length.
Yeah, they avoid emotional closeness.
It's like they're protecting themselves.
Exactly. They've built up these walls.
What are the other styles?
Well, there's ambivalent or resistant attachment.
Okay.
These individuals really crave closeness, but are also afraid of rejection.
So the push and pull.
Yeah, they might be anxious and insecure in their relationships.
Always wondering if their partner really cares.
Yeah, constantly worried about being abandoned.
That sounds exhausting.
It can be.
And then there's disorganized attachment.
Right. That one is often associated with trauma
Oh, wow.
or neglect.
Okay.
People with this style might act in contradictory ways,
Like what?
like seeking closeness but then withdrawing.
It sounds confusing.
It is. It's like their internal map for relationships is all fragmented.
Because of those early traumatic experiences.
Exactly.
So it makes it hard for them to have stable relationships.
It can be a real challenge.
But we talked about how the brain can change.
Right. Neuroplasticity.
So even if someone had a rough start, Can they change their attachment style?
They absolutely can.
Really?
Yeah, it's called earned secure attachment.
Earned secure attachment.
It's pretty amazing. It shows how much the brain can change.
So people can actually develop a more secure attachment style later in life.
Yes.
How?
Through therapy, positive relationships, really putting in the effort.
That's encouraging.
It is. It shows we're not stuck with our past.
We can heal and grow.
Exactly.
But how does Mindsight fit into all this?
Mindsight is really important for transforming those attachment patterns.
I see.
When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of those old blueprints.
Those automatic reactions.
Yeah, those habits that might be hurting our relationships.
So mindfulness helps us see those unconscious patterns.
It shines a light on them.
And then what?
Then we have a choice.
A choice to do things differently.
Exactly. We can react in those same old ways, or we can choose to respond differently.
More consciously.
More consciously, in a way that supports the relationships we want.
But that sounds hard.
It can be.
How do we actually change those deeply ingrained patterns?
It takes time and patience.
And probably brings up a lot of uncomfortable feelings.
It can. But remember, our brains are wired for connection.
So we're meant to be in relationships.
Right. And mindfulness helps us strengthen those connections. It strengthens those neural pathways for self-awareness, emotional regulation, empathy.
All the things we need for healthy relationships.
Precisely.
So mindfulness is like a superpower for relationships.
It is. It helps us transform ourselves and our connections with others.
This is fascinating.
And Dr. Siegel has a great tool for developing this integration in Mindsight.
Oh, what's that?
It's called the Wheel of Awareness meditation.
I've heard of that.
It's a guided meditation where you bring your attention to different parts of your experience.
Your senses, your thoughts, your feelings.
Exactly. And you do it without judging yourself.
That sounds helpful.
It is. It helps you develop the ability to observe your inner world more clearly.
So you can see those old attachment patterns.
The anxieties, the fears, the avoidance.
But you don't get swept away by them?
Exactly. You can observe them without getting caught up in them.
That makes sense.
And as you become more familiar with your own inner world, you become more attuned to others' inner worlds.
It helps us develop empathy.
Yes. Deeper empathy and connection.
Which is essential for secure relationships.
That's it. It all comes back to integration.
Integration within ourselves and in our relationships.
Right.
It's incredible to think that mindfulness can help us cultivate this.
It's powerful stuff.
It's like we're rewiring our brains for love and connection.
That's a great way to put it.
So if we can intentionally change our brains in our relationships,
Yeah.
what kind of future can we create?
That's the big question, isn't it? How can we use all this to build a better world?
A more compassionate world?
Yes, a more connected world.
Those are great questions.
Big questions.
I think our listener might need a moment to digest all this.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
We've been talking about some pretty complex stuff.
Yeah, we have.
This whole idea of neuroplasticity,
Right.
how our brains can actually change.
And how those early attachments in childhood,
Yeah.
they shape our relationships.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
But I'm thinking about what we do with all this information.
It's like we've been given this amazing map,
Right. A map of the brain.
but now we need to figure out how to use it.
Exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think the key is mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Yeah.
That seems to come up a lot.
It's a powerful tool.
But how does it actually help us with all this brain stuff?
It helps us become aware of our thoughts and feelings,
Okay.
our behaviors, those patterns we've been talking about.
So we can actually see what's going on in our minds.
Exactly.
Instead of just reacting automatically.
We can create a space
A space.
between something happening and our reaction to it.
Oh, I see.
So we can make a conscious choice about how we respond.
And that changes our brain.
It does.
Wow.
It strengthens those neural pathways, the ones for self-awareness, for regulating our emotions, for
Well, sure.
empathy, all the good stuff.
So it's like a workout for our brains.
It is.
We're building those mental muscles. And the more we practice mindfulness, the stronger those muscles get.
Like going to the gym.
Right.
You lift weights consistently and your muscles grow.
Makes sense.
Same thing with mindfulness. We're strengthening those parts of the brain that help us focus, be more compassionate.
It's not just about feeling calm in the moment, then.
Right.
It's about creating lasting changes.
Exactly.
Changes that affect our whole lives.
Our relationships, everything.
It's amazing how much power we have over our own brains.
It is. And the best part is that those changes ripple outwards.
What do you mean?
As we become more mindful, more
Right.
compassionate.
We bring those qualities to our relationships
Exactly. We start to treat others differently.
with more understanding and kindness.
Exactly. It creates a positive feedback loop.
So our personal growth actually contributes to a better world.
It does. It might sound idealistic,
It does a little.
but imagine a world where everyone had those skills.
Mindfulness, emotional regulation
Think of the impact,
on families, communities.
even globally. Less conflict, more understanding.
It's a nice thought.
It is. And it all starts with each of us
Taking responsibility for our own minds
learning to manage our internal world.
so we can navigate the external world more effectively.
That's it.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I feel hopeful.
Me too.
Like there's so much potential
There is.
for us to change and grow.
And for the world to change and grow too.
So what's the most important thing for our listeners to remember?
I would say this. Remember that your brain is not fixed.
Okay.
You have the power to change it.
Through neuroplasticity,
Right. And through Mindsight.
you can create a life with more joy, more connection, more meaning. It's been great talking about all this with you.
It's been my pleasure.
And for our listeners who want to learn more, I definitely recommend Dr. Siegel's work.
Especially Mindsight.
It's a fantastic resource full of wisdom and practical guidance.
It really is.
So to wrap things up, I guess the message is start now.
Your brain will thank you.